This research is about impact of vegetated infrastructure to mitigate the urban heat island effect in Dhaka, Bangladesh. The contents are introduction, problem statement, research questions, research methodology, simulation process, results analysis and discussion, and conclusion. Favorable microclimate is highly needed to enjoy the social and economic benefit of outdoor spaces. However, due to the unplanned urban expansion in developing countries, we are now observing rapid urban population growth, and cities are now having surfaces and structures with large heat holding capacity. Therefore, we can see the temperature near the downtown or the built-up area is much higher than the temperature of rural and suburban spaces, and this effect is called urban heat island effect. This research is based on Bangladesh, which is one of the fastest growing developing countries in the world, and it lies in the tropics. Bangladesh also has one of the highest population densities in the world. And Dhaka is the capital of Bangladesh, and it is expected by 2050, nearly 56% of country's total population will be living in urban areas. And right now, urban heat island effect is strongly observed in Dhaka city. If we see the urban heat island effect in Dhaka, we can see it is getting worse day by day. And if we see the maximum and the minimum temperature over the last 60 years, these are showing upward trends. Due to the significant increase of human created impervious area and the urban expansion, which is altering all the natural surfaces to hard surfaces, we are facing urban heat island effect. So this is the condition of Dhaka city now, where we are losing all the vegetation and the green spaces and natural surfaces. And therefore we have urban heat island effect like very strongly. So the problem statement is, in the last 100 years, the average temperature in Dhaka has increased by 0.5 degrees Celsius, and in the next 50 years, it is expected to increase by another 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius. As we can see, we have several outdoor activities in Dhaka city and in Bangladesh, and comfortable urban microclimate is highly needed for that. So to revive these urban spaces, it is highly needed to mitigate the urban heat island effect so that people can enjoy the outdoor spaces. Urban trees and greeneries have direct and indirect effect by shading and ambient cooling. Right now, different kind of green infrastructure are getting popular in Dhaka, like plants at the street level, green roof, and green facade. So this research analyzed the method of the impact of urban trees and common green vegetation on mitigating the urban heat island effect in Dhaka. So the research questions are, how can the addition of vegetated infrastructure aid to mitigate the urban heat island effects in Dhaka, Bangladesh? And which type of intervention works most effectively to reduce the urban heat island effect? For the research, with this problem statement, several literature has been reviewed and field survey is done, and from there a site is selected, and then from in the site the simulation is done with NVMed software without any intervention, and then in the same place the simulation is done with 3 different intervention, having plants at road level, creating green roof and green facade, and the impact on air temperature is compared and analyzed, and some recommendation for the site is generated. So for this study, the new planned residential area, Purbachal, is selected, and a small portion is taken for the survey, for the research work. And for this research, the software NVMed is used. And with the Leonardo, it is possible to see the rendered image to have a understanding of the microclimate. And for these research, the air temperature has been selected to understand the urban microclimatic condition. So the method is using the software and see the impact on air temperature by the tree intervention and creating recommendation for the area. So this simulation is done for the month of July 2015 to predict the air temperature, and current master plan and existing FAR rules are followed to understand the future development, and the air temperature is observed at 1.5 meter where pedestrian can feel the urban heat island effect. So so then it was done without any intervention, and then with intervention one, the 8 plants are placed on the north and the west. The spherical, small trunk, dense, medium size 3D plants are placed, and their impact is analyzed in air temperature. And intervention two, grass of 25 centimeter average is placed in all the rooftop of all buildings. And for the intervention three, the green facade is created with Hedera helix, at least in one facade of all the 12 buildings, and then the impact are observed. And here, this chart shows the impact without any vegetation, and then intervention one with trees, two with roof, and three with facade. And here we can see the changes in air temperature. And all three green intervention are having cooling effect in urban microclimate and able to reduce the air temperature during 2 to 6, which is a critical time of a day. And another interesting finding is that we can see the cooler effect up to from 2 p.m. to up to 4 a.m. So these type of green intervention are highly recommended to reduce the urban heat island effect in Purvachal area. If we see in more detail, we can see for the intervention one, which is tree at road level, we can see that it can decrease about 0.5 degree at 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 12 a.m., and 2 a.m. And for intervention 2 and 3, it can reduce about 0.5 degrees Celsius at 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. And if we consider the condition at 2 p.m., we can see both the intervention 1 and 2 can decrease the air temperature about 0.47 degrees Celsius, and with the green facade is 0.46 degrees Celsius at 2. And if we consider the condition at 4, we can see the green roof is most effective at this time, and it reduces about 0.64 degrees Celsius. And then green facade, it reduces 0.63 degrees Celsius, and then trees, which reduces about 0.61 degrees Celsius. So it is a very interesting finding of the research that with this kind of intervention, we can reduce the temperature from 2 p.m. to 4 a.m. And then the impact on both maximum air temperature and minimum air temperature are simulated and recorded. And this is the pattern how the maximum and minimum air temperature is changing in 24 hours. And here we can see these green interventions has more impact on the maximum air temperature than the minimum air temperature. And by the intervention 1, we can see it reduces about 0.61 degrees Celsius at 4 p.m. and about 0.87 degrees Celsius at 12 a.m. And by intervention 2, it reduces about 0.64 degrees Celsius at 4 p.m. And by intervention 3, it reduces about 0.60 degrees Celsius at 4 p.m. So in conclusion, we can say with the impact of evapotranspiration and oasis effect, the green intervention are able to reduce the urban heat island effect. And currently Dhaka was very around 0.12 acre vegetated spaces, which should be about 6.25 to 10.5 acre per thousand population. So it is highly recommended to increase the percentage of the green spaces and vegetated surfaces. And from this research, we can say planting trees are the most effective ones. So we should encourage to plant more trees at road levels. And similarly, green roof and green facades are also effective during the critical time of the day. And there are some limitations of this research, like we cannot guarantee the same volume or percentage was increased in 3 interventions, and only one environmental factor, which is air temperature, has been considered, whereas similar other parameters like relative humidity and air speed can be considered. So Dhaka is very rich in flora and fauna. So now green database can be created. And for the next step of the research, multiple approaches can be taken to integrate GIS, remote sensing technique, ground-based temperature measurement, and geostatical analysis. So in conclusion, we can say vegetated infrastructure are highly effective to mitigate the urban heat island effect, and cooling down our city with vegetated infrastructure could be an important place to start with. So it is urgently need to so that the city authority can take steps to increase the vegetated infrastructure. And this research is supported by Penn State Department of Architecture. And I would like to thank my super advisors, Ute Porschke and Lisa Domenica Ailo, for supporting me, and also one of my committee member, Rahman Azari, for his support. And the software and equipments are provided by Ecology and Design and Himmer Center of Community Design. And in the end, if you have any question, please email me. Thank you so much for your patience and listening to my research output.